The human stood quietly at the far end of the crystalline hall, his boots clicking softly against the polished floor. Above him, golden threads of light twisted across the ceiling like streams of molten energy. Every inch of the alien palace seemed to hum with silent power, alive with colors that didn't exist in the human spectrum. Yet what drew every eye in the room wasn't the light or the glory of the architecture, it was him. He hadn't expected the silence when he entered. The guards, armored in reflective silver, stiffened. Courtiers froze mid-whisper, and on the elevated throne, the alien princess, draped in flowing luminescent robes, suddenly stopped breathing. Her hand, halfway through a graceful motion, trembled in the air. She stared at him, eyes widening in disbelief. The faintest tremor ran through her as if she'd seen a ghost. Her golden pupils narrowed to slits, glowing brighter, almost afraid yet drawn closer by something she couldn't explain. The human, his name was Ethan, didn't understand what had just happened. He had come to represent humanity in peace talks after the long and bitter skirmishes between the Terran fleets and the Vylori Dominion. But this reaction was nothing he had trained for. The room's temperature seemed to drop. The air was heavy, pressing against his skin. Somewhere an advisor coughed to break the tension, but the princess raised one slender hand, halting him. Her gaze never left the human. "You," she said finally, her voice melodic yet filled with something uncertain. "Where did you come from?" Ethan swallowed. "Earth," he said simply. The word echoed strangely in that vast chamber like a forgotten melody awakening old memories. Murmurs rippled through the alien crowd. The princess's eyes softened for a brief second, then hardened again. She stood slowly, her robes glimmering like captured starlight. "Escort him to the inner sanctum," she ordered. "No one else follows." The guards hesitated, unsure, but obeyed. Ethan followed her through winding corridors that twisted like veins of living crystal. The walls pulsed faintly as though breathing. Every step made him feel smaller, like the palace itself was aware of him. Finally, they stopped before a set of doors carved with strange symbols that shifted when looked at directly. The princess pressed her hand against the surface and the doors opened with a low hum. Inside was a quiet chamber bathed in soft blue light. She turned to face him, her earlier calm breaking slightly. "You are human," she said, almost to herself. "It shouldn't be possible," Ethan frowned. "I don't understand." The princess paced slowly, her long hair drifting like fine threads of silver mist. "Our history tells of your kind," she murmured. "But not as you are now. We thought you were myths or perhaps extinct. The last human we recorded in our archives vanished more than 10,000 cycles ago." He blinked. 10,000 what? "Cycles," she said. "Your word might be years." The weight of her statement hit him slowly. Humanity had only recently developed faster than light travel, pushing beyond the boundaries of their local systems. How could her people have known of humans long before that? Ethan took a cautious breath. "There must be a mistake. My people just reached deep space decades ago. We've never met your kind until this year." Her eyes flashed with emotion. Then perhaps time itself was unkind. He could see the conflict on her face. She stepped closer, studying him as though searching for proof of something. "Your features," she whispered. "Your voice, even the way your energy flows, it is the same as the one who saved my ancestors." "The one who gave us light?" Ethan felt a strange chill. "You mean another human?" She nodded slowly. "We called him the First Light. He came to our world when it was drowning in darkness, when our skies were dying and our people were losing hope. He changed everything." Ethan tilted his head. "How?" "He touched our core," she said. "The energy heart of our planet. It was unstable, collapsing. He somehow stabilized it using nothing but his own life essence. He vanished afterward, leaving behind a single phrase recorded in our ancient scripts. We build, we learn, we rise." Ethan's heart skipped. Those words were the old Terran motto carved on the first interstellar colony plaque, humanity's guiding principle. Something stirred inside him, a strange familiarity like a whisper from his own blood. The princess stopped pacing and looked at him again. "When I saw you, I thought time had turned back." "You carry the same mark, he repeated. She stepped close enough that he could see faint patterns glowing beneath her skin. Then she reached out gently and touched the side of his neck. His skin tingled and a faint symbol appeared, 3 interlocking rings of light pulsing softly. He had never seen it before. What is that?" he stammered, her voice trembled. The mark of the first light, the same as the one who saved us. Ethan backed up slightly. That can't be. I've never seen this before. I'm just an envoy, not some ancient hero. The princess smiled sadly. Perhaps you are not him, but something of him remains in you. A memory, a fragment, or a legacy buried in your people's line. He didn't know what to say. The silence stretched between them. At last she walked to the far wall and touched a small crystal embedded there. A holographic image flared into being. A man, human in every sense, standing tall amid alien ruins. His eyes burned with fierce determination. Around him, alien figures knelt, worshipping. The image was old, grainy, but Ethan could see the resemblance. It was like looking at an ancestor, or a reflection warped by time. That was him, the princess said quietly. He came from a place called Earth, and he vanished after saving us. Ethan stared. The face was almost his own, though older and sterner. The princess turned toward him again. You understand why I stopped when I saw you? It was as if he had returned. He nodded slowly. I think I understand now. But deep inside, something still churned. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this than coincidence. That night he was given a chamber within the palace. The walls glowed with a faint warmth, soothing yet strange. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thoughts racing. What if humanity had once traveled further than it remembered? What if, in ancient times, humans had reached the stars and then fallen, losing everything to myth and silence? He felt the mark on his neck pulse faintly as though alive. He sat up. The symbol glowed again, brighter than before. Suddenly images flashed in his mind, cities of light, endless oceans of stars, a burning world collapsing under its own gravity. And a man, his face a mirror of Ethan's, standing before a glowing core, whispering those same words. We build, we learn, we rise. Ethan gasped and clutched his chest. The vision faded, leaving him trembling. The next morning he went to the princess. She was in the observation garden, surrounded by floating petals that shimmered like tiny moons. When she saw him, her expression softened. You saw something, she said before he could speak. He nodded. I think I saw him. The first light, her eyes widened slightly. Then it's true. The legacy chose you. What does that mean? She gestured toward the horizon where the twin suns rose. Our world is fading again. The core is unstable. The same energy he once calmed is breaking apart. We hoped diplomacy might help us reach your people for aid, but now perhaps fate sent you here. Ethan looked at her, then at his glowing mark. I don't know if I can do what he did. You can, she said softly. Because you are human, and humans create hope where there is none. Her words echoed in him. He didn't fully understand them, but they filled him with a strange strength. The following days were a blur. Scientists, priests, and engineers worked beside him. The princess stayed close, guiding him through ancient archives. Together they pieced fragments of lost knowledge, technologies humanity might once have mastered. The more Ethan learned, the more he realized that humanity's past was far older than anyone had imagined. At the heart of the planet, deep beneath shimmering caverns, lay the core chamber. It was a vast sphere of molten light bound by spirals of energy. The closer they got, the stronger his mark glowed until it felt like his heartbeat matched the rhythm of the planet itself. The princess stood beside him. If you fail, our world will die, she said quietly. Ethan took a deep breath. Then I won't fail. He stepped forward, reaching toward the pulsing energy. Pain shot through his arm, but he didn't stop. The light expanded, wrapping around him, searching, remembering. In the blinding glow, he saw flashes of humanity's lost history. Great fleets sailing among galaxies. Worlds once touched by human hands, and the first light smiling faintly before fading into the stars. Ethan understood then. The legacy wasn't just one man's power. It was the human spirit, endurance, courage, and the refusal to give up. That essence had survived in him, carried across generations. He focused every thought on that strength. The light responded, swirling faster. The core stabilized, its chaotic energy calming until it hummed steadily once more. When it was over, Ethan collapsed. The princess caught him, tears glimmering in her alien eyes. You did it, she whispered. He smiled weakly. We did it. The mark faded from his neck, leaving only a faint warmth. The planet's tremors ceased. Above, the skies turned clear and bright. Days later, during the farewell ceremony, the princess approached him with quiet gratitude. "You reminded us what your kind once were," she said, "and what we must never forget, to rise again." Ethan looked toward the stars. "Maybe that's what humans do best. We fall, we forget, but we always find our way back," she smiled. "Then may the stars remem."